I'd like to welcome you to the Woodbury Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. If we would please rise for the pledge to the flag. It's over here. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Welcome to the Woodbury Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. We meet the second Wednesday of each month. This is our first in-person meeting in quite a while. It may be our last with the way things are going. We're not sure. Our next meeting is in September 8th. Whether it's virtual or in person, we don't know at this time, so you'll have to just keep abreast of what the notices say. I'd like to introduce our board to you. To your far right, we have Mr. Evan Yan. No, we don't. We have Mr. Andrew Zumas. And then we have Mr. Evan Yan. And then we have Mr. Kevin Abrams, Mr. Craig Brady. I'm Karen Ungerer. To your far left is our attorney, Callie Naughton, and our recording secretary in the rear of the room is Jessica McLennan. Let's go to the agenda right now. Number one on the agenda is executive session. We have none. Number two, approval and acceptance of previous minutes. Has everyone on the board read the minutes from June 9th? Do I have a motion to accept those minutes as submitted?
Motion to accept the minutes as submitted. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. New business. I guess what we need to do is we have some public hearings that we cannot proceed with at this time due to the moratorium. These are the two applications that will be affected this evening are the Valdez and Ross applications. The 6-month moratorium on special permits and other building within the community is up in December, so we will not be able to entertain these applications until that time. So if Valdez or Ross are here, I'm very sorry. It's really something that's out of our control. Did you need to say anything on that? Did I?
No, that's fine. You just need to decide if you're going to extend them or close them.
Okay. What's the board's pleasure? You want to extend these applications, the public hearings, till December, or do you want to close them and have them?
I'll second.
What did you say, Kevin, to extend?
Extend them to December.
December, okay. And you had a second, Andrew?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion on that? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that was our new business. We're going to do the action on decisions right now. The first one is Abraham. Review a decision for an area variance for the demolition of an existing non-conforming 3-family dwelling and reconstruction of a 2-family dwelling, 14 Skytop Road, Highland Mills, Section 217, Block 3, Lot 5. And after several pages of facts and findings, the decision is as follows. As a consequence of the board's discussions, the Zoning Board of Appeals hereby grants the applicant's request to demolish the existing 3-family dwelling and replace it with a 2-family dwelling, and for a special permit to enlarge the non-conforming use of land as a 2-family dwelling by up to 10% of the floor area of the existing dwelling as stated and described herein, subject to the conditions set forth above, which are written in the decision. Do I have a motion from a member to
I'll make that
approve
motion.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. How do you vote, Andrew?
Nay.
Evan?
No.
Craig?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And I vote aye. So the... So Abrams' decision is passed 3-2. Second decision. Oops. is Coops Reuben, review decision for an area variance to permit the construction of a detached 15 by 32-foot accessory structure in a side yard, 120 Seven Springs Road, Highland Mills, Section 213, Block 1, Lot 16.1. And the decision is as follows. After several pages of facts and findings, as a consequence of the board's discussion, the Zoning Board of Appeals hereby grants the requested appeal and area variance described and discussed above to the extent noted above, and hereby finds that the variance as granted is the minimum variance necessary to preserve and protect the character of the neighborhood. Per Section A316-9 of the Village Code, the decision shall expire if a building permit is not obtained by the applicant within 180 days from the date of this decision. The board may extend this time for one additional period of 90 days if such extension is warranted by the particular circumstances. Do I have a motion from the board to entertain this decision?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
And Andrew, how do you vote?
Yes. Yay.
Evan?
Yay.
Greg?
Yeah.
Kevin?
Aye.
And I vote aye. So Mr. Coops gets his garage. Third decision is Vite, review decision for an area variance to permit the construction of a single-family dwelling on a lot having no frontage on a public road, Smith Grove Road, Central Valley, Section 218, Block 2, Lot 88. And the decision for that is, after several pages of facts and findings, as a consequence of the board's discussion, the Zoning Board of Appeals hereby grants the requested area variances described and discussed above to allow the construction of a dwelling on a lot that does not have adequate street frontage, conditioned upon the following. 1, the driveway shall not be used by any additional structures for access. The driveway shall be used only by the owners of the properties involved and mentioned in this decision. The applicant's property may only use the driveway to access the residential dwelling. No others shall use it for access unless and until the easement area is accepted by the village as a public street and improved to the village's road specifications. Number 2, this approval is conditioned upon the receipt of all necessary approvals and permits from the planning board and/or the building inspector. Number 3, the granting of these variances, unless extended per village code, shall expire if a building or occupancy permit for the use is not obtained by the applicant within 180 days from the date of this decision. See Village Code Section A316-9, letter E. Number 4, the applicant shall improve the easement area to the satisfaction of the highway superintendent and building inspector to a condition sufficient and suitable to allow the access, ingress, and egress of fire trucks, ambulances, police cars, and other emergency vehicles. The board hereby finds that the variances as granted are the minimum variances necessary to preserve and protect the character of the neighborhood. Do I have a motion to entertain this decision?
I'll motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Andrew, how do you vote?
Aye.
Evan?
Aye.
Craig?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And I vote aye. So Ms. Veit will get her second structure. Okay, we're going to move to letter C on the public hearings because we cannot entertain letters A and B. This is Hamaspic, continuation of public hearing for an area variance to permit the keeping of livestock, chickens, and roosters on a parcel having less than 2 acres with less than 200 feet from a property line. Whereas pursuant to Section 310-7, accessory uses, a minimum of 2 acres of lot area is required and a minimum distance of 200 feet to the property lines for housing and grazing. Said property is located in the R1A zoning district at 100 Summit Avenue in Central Valley and is known on the Village of Woodbury tax maps as Section 228, Block 9, Lot 1.21. Is the applicant present? Could you please come to the podium and give your name to the, so the secretary can record it, please? Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Moses Wertheimer, the Executive Director of a hospital of Orange County.
Can you pick up the mic?
Yeah, it's hard to...
Okay, my name is Moses
thank you.
Wertheimer, Executive Director of the agency a hospital of Orange County.
Okay, and you the gentleman we spoke with last month?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
So you're here because you wish to keep 20 chickens in a 32 by 32 foot wire enclosure on the back of the property, is that correct?
That's correct.
And you understand that you're here because you need 2 acres and 200-foot distance from the property line?
That's correct.
Okay. At the last meeting, we asked you for full-size plans and photos, but we did not receive any.
I did submit that, and I got a confirmation from the building inspector.
When we were at the meeting, we asked you, and you said there would be no problem giving us photos and full-size plans for the property.
I did submit plans, full
Right,
survey.
but they were on 8.5 by 11 paper. They weren't,
Pardon me?
it's very difficult to, it's an 8.5 by 11 sheet, and it's only the size of an index card, to read the plans.
I didn't get clarification if that wouldn't be sufficient enough. That's what we got from the survey company. We didn't get a hard copy, but that's an email we got. So I wasn't sure that this is not correct. But for some reason, I got a confirmation here on an email that we received, and it will be distributed to the board.
Okay, well, let's proceed. We don't have that information here, but I have some questions. How long are the chickens on the property? How many months? Because you had said last meeting that during the winter, the colder months, that you...
It's usually during the summer months,
Summer, so we're talking...
which I will expect maybe another month or so.
So May, June, July, maybe June, July, August?
It's from spring and maybe till September.
Okay. And what happens when the chickens go? What do the boys have for their therapy then?
Pardon me?
When the chickens are no longer on the property, what therapy do the boys have?
They do a different type of therapy. They would go to some other places, not with the livestock, but they will do other type of therapies. But this is part of their activities and therapy when it's available.
And is there a reason that I know that last month there was concern about the roosters crowing. Is there a reason that you need the roosters and not just the chickens?
No, it doesn't matter. I guess it's a variety of what the staff selected with individuals, but I guess every type of animal has a different type of communicating or whatever with individuals, so I guess they have a variety, and it could be a difference between the individuals who are living in that home. Some may interact with the chickens better, and some may with the roosters.
What kind of coop is this? My question is, you have a wire enclosure. Is it just posts in the ground with wire around it and a wire on top?
That's correct.
Is there any wood on the bottom?
No.
Is
No.
there any flooring in
No.
the... So do the chickens ever leave this area?
No.
So is it cleaned on a daily basis? Because chickens do a lot of...
Yes, it's cleaned, and they constantly get mulch, fresh mulch, which they clean the old one and put new mulch on the ground. And it's, as you said, posts on the corners, and then it's wire mesh.
What do they do with the old mulch?
We'll have to check on that.
I mean, do they just throw it in a pile in the back of the
No,
woods?
I don't
or
think so.
Do they bag it?
We will be cited if we do so by the state.
I don't think I have any more questions at this time. Does anybody on the board have any questions? The plans that you submitted show the chicken enclosed area 32 by 32, but it's only not even 33 feet from the property line.
Correct.
And the property is less than the 2 acres. I have a problem with that.
That's why
The
we're
code
here
is,
for.
I know, I understand that. The code is written so that people are protected from whatever. And I don't know, and I know we had 2 letters last month. One was from a neighbor and one was from the town supervisor.
Correct.
Do you know of any other problems besides those 2 that have occurred? with regard to the chickens?
Not what I'm aware of.
Okay. Because we haven't received any other letters, but there may be people here I don't know
Just
to
to
speak.
reiterate on the email what I was saying before, on July 8th, I got a confirmation from the building department that the plans were received, and there were no comments that it's no good or they need something additional to that. So we took it as
Right, I think the building department and the zoning board don't communicate in the same way that you and the zoning board.
okay. Yes, I
So-
was specific in that email that it should be submitted to the committee members, and I didn't get any negative response, so I thought that's what it's expected
Okay,
from us.
no, I understand. Board have any questions, concerns?
What happens to what happens to the chickens after the season?
They're being returned to a farm, whatever was taken from. So we have some partnership with the farm. They supply us with the food, they supply us with the chickens, and then it's being taken back to them.
Do you know where this farm is?
Somewhere in Sullivan County. I'm not familiar exactly where.
Any other questions from the board?
No, not really.
All right.
Just
Should-
for the record, it's 3-acre zoning, not 2, per the code.
Right, but you need a minimum
No,
3? Oh, is it 3?
it's 3 acres, R3A, not R2A. R2A does not allow that use.
I misunderstood that. I'm sorry, what?
I've got it right here. I've got it right here.
All right, sir. I think I'm going to open this up to the public if there's anyone here, and then we'll
Okay.
decide, what, if we're going to continue the
Thank you.
public hearing or what we're going to do this evening.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So just so you see, R3A, use 7. Okay?
I'm looking at the,
Correct. 2 acres up. Okay. Same uses, 2 acres up, with the exception of 370. And 7 south. That's correct. Doesn't matter. Even if they have 2 acres up, they still need a variance.
Karen, are accessory uses, are they on hold till December 2 or?
I don't know.
No, these are just variances. They're exempted from the moratorium.
Oh, we're
They're
good?
exempted.
Still haven't had the surgery.
Okay, is there anyone in the first row who wishes to speak to the Hamasic application? Second row? Yes, sir. Would you please come to the podium, state your name for the record, please?
I brought a statement here. So my name is Aaron Lefton. I want to thank you for the opportunity to address the Zoning Board of Appeals. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, good. So I live at 105 Summit Avenue. That's tax map 228-932. And that property is located directly across the street from 100 Summit Avenue. So I couldn't make the last meeting. You guys have a letter with
Yes,
my,
we
with
do.
my comments.
Yes.
Also, I was able to review the last meeting, and you did request those documents. It was very clear that that was expected tonight from Homopsic of Orange County. But I want to share, for the benefit of the board and the public, some background. Homopsic of Orange County didn't apply for a variance, so at some point in the future they could keep livestock at the property. They just moved forward, and they have been keeping livestock in violation of the village code. They have only asked for a variance after a violation was issued by the building inspector. The property has had livestock on it since at least early March or April, when I made my complaints to the building department via phone and in writing about the noisy rooster calls. The building inspector determined keeping livestock in this residential area on a lot that did not meet the code was a violation, and the building inspector issued a violation to Homopsic of Orange County on April 20th. I also was told that because of a violation was issued, Homopsic of Orange County would have 30 days to comply with the village code and remove the chickens and roosters. So I waited a month, and on May 23rd, after 30 days had passed, and numerous instances of being disturbed by rooster calls at all hours of the night and days, I followed up on the progress of the enforcement, and I was told that the building inspector enforcement activities could not proceed because a variance was requested, and no enforcement actions could be taken until this zoning board considered the variance request. So I'm here to ask the board to deny this variance and allow the enforcement of the village code to proceed. So since the last zoning board of appeals meeting, the effects of the livestock have been unbearable. From my property, I can hear the honking and clucking of the chickens and fowl from 100 Summit Avenue. At times, there is a powerful odor of chicken feces that can be smelled along Summit Avenue onto my property and all the way in the back by Oak Drive. I want to be able to enjoy the outdoor beauty of the village and my property. We have been disturbed by the loud chicken noises and the powerful odor. On June 23rd, I met with village trustee Andrew Giacomazza at my property, and he agreed that he could smell the odor, and he described it as quite pungent and said, you can definitely hear the chickens. And he summed that up in an email to the mayor and other officials. So again, I'm asking for this board to deny this variance and allow the enforcement of the village code to proceed. I'd like to summarize my points against this variance. So the proposed variance is going to cause an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood by allowing commercial businesses to operate in a residential area and create farms. The neighborhood where 100 Summit Avenue is located is a residential 1-acre R1A residential neighborhood. It's a quiet residential neighborhood, and generally the size of lots within the zone would not allow for keeping of livestock, which require a minimum of 2 acres, I guess we're learning 3, and a lot distance of a minimum of 200 feet to the property line for housing and grazing. Commercial businesses such as Hamopsic of Orange County should not be allowed to build or buy a home in a residential area and then keep fowl in the residential area with insufficient space. Okay? So this permit will allow expansion to farming and other non-residential uses. So this permit should be denied. The proposed variances should also be denied because it will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical environment. The chickens and roosters have created unreasonable noise that violates section 208-4 of the village code. And that code says, the keeping or maintaining of any animal or animals or bird which, by causing frequent or long continued noise, including loud howling, barking, crying, or whining, with or without the knowledge, consent, or fault of the owner of the animal or bird, shall disturb the comfort or repose of any person in the immediate vicinity for a continuous period of 15 or more minutes, or intermittent noise for a period of 45 minutes or more in a residential area. The chickens and roosters can be heard making continuous calls for hours. So the roosters, not so much lately, but when they are there, they can be heard at all hours of the day and night. A rooster's crow is typically in the range of 130 decibels. I've been awakened by the rooster calls as early as 3:30 a.m. I've also been disturbed by the roosters during the day and late into the evening. It's incredibly disturbing and has ruined the peaceful ambience of the village. I have shared recordings of the rooster calls made from my iPhone from sitting on my front porch and within my residence to the building department. So the disturbing rooster calls can be heard beyond Summit Avenue and Oak Concourse, Woodward Terrace, and Dunderberg Road. The variance is substantial and should be denied on this basis. The permit would create a substandard lot in a residential 1-acre zone. This would be negatively impactful to the village, and this could be resolved by relocating this commercial business to a conforming zone that would allow businesses such as this. The board should deny the variance request because the situation was self-created. Hamopsic of Orange County kept the fowl on its property in violation of the village code and has only applied for a variance because it was cited for a violation. Again, this could be resolved by relocating this commercial business to a conforming zone or a larger property. So I'd like to thank the Zoning Board of Appeals for hearing my comments. I urge the Zoning Board of Appeals to deny this area variance and allow the chicken and roosters, a variance to allow the chicken and roosters at Summit Avenue and to please enforce the code. Thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone anyone else in the second row who wishes to speak to this application? Third row? Anyone in the rear or side? All right. What's the board's pleasure here? You want to continue, or you want to close the public hearing?
I think I've heard enough, to be honest with
I mean, do you need any more information, I guess is my question, in order to proceed? No? So do I have a
you. I
motion?
don't.
Well, they're shaking their heads too, you just can't see. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing? I'll make. And do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, so, sir, the public hearing is now closed. At the end of this meeting, we will discuss it and render a decision. And you can stay, or you can just call the building department in the morning. It's your choice. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Scunny Mook.
Next on the agenda is a public hearing, Fisher, for an area variance to permit the subdivision of 2.07 acres into 2 lots for the construction of a new single-family residence, whereas pursuant to Section 310-7, properties in the R1A district are required to have a minimum lot area of 1.0 acres and a minimum side yard setback of 30 feet. The application proposes a minimum lot area of 0.91 acres and a side yard setback of 12.2 feet. Said property is located in the R1A zoning district at 7 Scunamunk Road in Highland Mills and is known on the Village of Woodbury tax maps as Section 204, Block 1, Lot 36.2. Is the applicant present? Could you please state your name for the record, please? Thank you.
Yes, hi, my name is David Nimatko. I'm the architect for the project. And it's good to see everyone in person. I think the last time I saw this board was virtual, so it's a unique experience coming back.
So you're here at the behest of the planning board, correct?
Correct.
You have submitted, I believe, at least 4 different plans for this subdivision. And what the planning board really wanted was regular boundary lines between the properties rather than this to try to get 1 acre, all over the place. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So what you wish to do is to divide this 2.07 acres into 2 1-acre lots, which sounds like it should be an easy task since there's more than 2 acres there, but the logistics of the terrain and the way the single house is located with the barn and the masonry buildings, it just was near impossible. So the plans that you submitted basically have 2 lots. So we have Lot 1, which is where the proposed dwelling that you would like to have will go, correct?
Correct.
And then Lot 2 is where the existing dwelling is?
Correct.
Okay. So let me clarify some things before I ask my questions. Lot 2, the shed along Ridge Road, you can't see it from the road, but that is in the plans to be removed, correct?
Correct.
Okay. The barn, the big red barn, the plan is to remove that also?
Yes.
Okay. The masonry building that's there, it looks like maybe a third of it or something, the part between the barn and the part of the building there will be removed also?
About 25.8 feet of it to 26 feet.
Okay. And in Lot 1, the proposed dwelling is slightly less, it's 0.06 of an acre less than the 1 acre requirement. And the proposed dwelling is 2,450 square feet, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I have some questions. The masonry building, what is the use of it? What's the purpose of that building?
Well, it'll become a garage for the existing house. So to I don't want to say accommodate, but
That's going to become the garage, the house on Lot 2?
correct.
The masonry building used to be a creamery,
Oh, yeah?
yes, at one time.
Interesting.
It still has some of the cow stuff in there from back in the day when Alan Jones owned it.
So the owner plans to convert that building into a garage. What is it used for now? Do you know?
Nothing.
Just,
Nothing.
Probably
Storage. Just storage.
so I
So
guess it's not a principal use of the property, it's basically an accessory use.
Correct. Actually, there's a few things that needed to be done to help come to a meeting of the minds with the planning board. That would probably be the best way to put it. So to eliminate irregular lines of a subdivision, the planning board thought it best if we have more of a conventional subdivision line. So you see that on the second plan. There's a line going from the south to the north, and then from the east to the west, dividing lots 1 and 2. To help make that work, we're proposing to eliminate that existing barn or the existing garage, and also the 25 feet off of that masonry building. There's 2 reasons for doing that. One is it satisfies the rear yard requirement for lot 2, and it also reduces the size of that masonry building to an accessory use, 1,500 square feet. So the impact on the owner's willing, of course, to assume that impact and remove those areas to allow the project to go ahead.
Well, I see a one-story garage on the left, and then you're gonna cut into the one-story masonry building? Is that the plan? You're gonna take,
The garage comes out,
but then it says area of masonry building to remain.
right, the remaining area.
So I imagine there's a wall or something between there?
We'll have to create a wall.
Okay,
So-
yeah.
so,
So you basically just, not random, but you decided, based on the configuration here, that would be the best area to
Yes, again,
separate that?
Again, to reduce it to 1,500 square feet, so it becomes an accessory structure, which complies with the zoning code.
Yeah.
And to also satisfy the rear yard requirement for that lot. So now the rear yard is 50 feet plus, and that building is
Gotcha.
reduced to 1,500 square feet.
Okay, do you know if is that 1,500 square feet exact, or is that?
Probably a little less.
Okay.
As you can see, I took off 25.8 to be a little bit conservative.
Did some math
You know,
there,
to
yeah.
make sure that we're definitely in compliance with the rear yard setback and under the 1,500 square feet.
Now, the concrete pad, that stone wall, the foundation remains, are you keeping that? I'm asking because of permeability, you know, how much coverage, lot area coverage. I'm concerned
in-
about that.
In which location?
There's a concrete, there's a concrete pad next to the barn that's going to be removed? The barn that's going to be removed? You see
Yes,
there's
yes.
Will that concrete pad also be removed?
Yes.
What about the stone wall that's there?
I mean,
I mean, I don't know how, you know, I didn't walk onto the property.
Yeah.
And if you look from Lent, you can't see that portion of the property.
the stone wall is not a concern to us, so that could be removed.
And what about there's foundation remains? I'm thinking in terms of, where did I see that?
Yeah, that would be removed or covered over.
You know, I'm concerned safety-wise.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Sure. I mean, it's understandable.
And, the gravel driveway, is that an easement, or is that just a driveway that somebody put there for access to Lot 2? Oh, yeah.
It used to go all the way through.
Right, but my question is it an easement that
No.
gives access? No.
No.
So it's just part of that property? You're going to get rid of that, I guess, because it's half in Lot 1, half in Lot 2?
Correct.
Okay. Anybody else have questions?
If you were removing 26 feet of that existing masonry building, is that curiosity? I mean, you have to, or you go file an alteration and then have to bring it up to code?
Well, we'll have to create a new wall, you know, new exterior wall there, and of course that would have to be per code. And then whatever other impacts on the project or on that building, the New York State Residential Code mandates that the parts that are impacted need to be upgraded.
Is the applicant currently living there?
I'm not sure.
What was the question? I didn't hear that, Andrew.
If the applicant is currently living there?
Still didn't hear.
I believe so.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I saw a for sale sign there also. Is the applicant planning to sell the property? Oh. There's a for sale sign. Is it for that lot too? Do you know?
I would imagine it's involving parts of this whole project. You know, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was just curious because when I drove by, I saw the for sale sign.
You know, I don't have an exact answer for that. I know
Okay.
that, you know, I'm here to subdivide the lot. That's what I've been hired to do. You know, I'm sure, you know, once that's developed, it will move along.
And the planning board wanted this, square it off here, that's why it's not quite 1 acre.
Yes.
Yeah,
so-
basically.
Yeah,
You could have fiddled with it a little bit and got the acre.
fiddle. We did actually.
You fiddled.
Quite honestly, we did probably 4 design revisions to get to this point. Believe me, this was not our first and initial response to the project. We worked at length to try to not have any variances at all, and actually it became possible by having a subdivision line, but it was very irregular. And the planning board made a good point. I mean, if you put a fence along the regular subdivision line, it won't look good. So they said, you know, let's get together, let's try to work this through to the minimum impact as possible. And I think this provides a great response to that. It's 2 lines. It has really no visual impact. You know, when you drive along there, it will always remain as 2.07 acres, you know, of land.
Right.
It's just we couldn't put a demarcation exactly at 1.035 acres. We had to work along with it.
In Lot 1, when you drive from Scunamunk onto Lent, there's a huge tree at the Scunamunk end. You plan to leave that tree there?
Oh, if you're asking me, see, I'm a tree hugger, so.
I would hate to see that tree get taken down because it's near the end of the property, and I just don't know numerically how far it is from the house that's proposed. But I would
So
like-
it's on Scunamunk. Well, it might be up by the village-owned property. It's toward the north?
Town, I think it's town, yeah.
Town
yeah.
property, so. But
It might be, it might be.
If it's within my control, when we go back to the planning board with this, I can definitely make that recommendation.
It might very well be, because I'm looking at where the driveway is and
The
the,
ridge preservation area, there's a requirement that trees of
right,
certain
well,
diameter.
the town owns this, so if it's in here, we don't have to worry.
But I'm saying if it's going to be subject to ridge preservation.
Right.
And the requirement that they retain trees of a certain diameter, I don't remember what.
This is a huge tree.
It's a huge tree,
Yeah,
so they won't be allowed to cut it down.
Good.
Doesn't matter.
good.
Good.
Any other questions from the board?
So is the property lot size, is it actually 2 acres, but it's because the slope weights the averages?
It's actually,
Yeah.
the overall property is actually 2.07 acres. So in a linear path, where you could have 1.035 and 1.035 acres on each property. But to answer that question, yes, because of the steep slopes on the property, which range from 15% to 35%, the zoning code allows you have to net a percentage of each of those slopes. And so that netted down the usable lot area. But even still, to get the regular subdivision line, it also impacted lot 1 quite a bit. So actually, it's lot 1 that is requiring the area variance, and it's lot 2 that requires
The setback, the side yard
setback.
variance, yeah.
I mean, you see that line going east to west on the proposed subdivision line. I mean, you know, I could move that up and pick up the area towards the south of the property, you know, very easily. But again, it would create an irregular subdivision line. This is a very good option, without question.
Why is that a regular subdivision line? If you bring it down 10 feet, is it because of the masonry building? Is that what's going to cause this problem? Why is that a problem to avoid using at least this one variance?
Because if the more you move one line, you have to pick up that area somewhere else. So if we move that east-west line further up the page, I have to grab the area for Lot 1 then towards the bottom of the page.
But if you bring
What-
it down, you make lot one, you can increase the size of lot one and decrease the size of lot two,
Yes.
thereby eliminating the need for one of the variances.
This was the option that everyone liked. From the planning board and the planning engineer. It meets the intersection of the meets and bounds for the adjacent property nicely, meets right at that corner. It travels north and then goes to the east. It's two lines, so basically everyone was,
The planning board has done this in the past because they want to try to keep some sort of a conformity with,
Right, well, what about,
with what's happening and with the lots.
I also had the same question, if I'm looking at the north-south here, the line that goes directly between them, not the line that, if you move that over, it would still be a straight line. This line right here. This one. Moved it slightly this way.
But then you're going to have it pieced.
You're gonna have what?
You'll have it, it'll be a little bit apart from the bottom of the property.
No, you just move this.
No, but that's not what the planning board wants.
Oh, in other words,
They want the
where
lines
that
to be-
90-degree angle is, they just want to keep those two properties at that line? Is that what you're saying? Oh. Do we have to honor that? I know.
Let me say, Martha, this line, right, this runs parallel to this over here, so I understand this. This one, where it says proposed subdivision, what is the negative impact? Moving this down, towards the south,
You would have less of a setback.
you would
There-
have more, but
You
that,
still need a setback
You,
variance.
you,
that setback, the setback is at the back. I'm not saying to remove this line. This.
No, the
rear yard
setback is on the
setback
side.
Stays, correct?
no, I'm talking about the 12 point,
you want to decrease the 12.2 to like 6 feet so that we increase the area on the lot 1?
But you still wouldn't pick up enough to get to an acre.
yeah.
We won't pick up, we have 39,760 net area. We would need to pick up approximately 5,000 square feet.
You wouldn't get it.
We wouldn't get it.
What they would have
Do
to do is come
do you
down
consider,
this way,
Andrew,
have
the
a little strip down.
6/100ths of an acre to be significant enough to want to move those lines, or?
I don't, I just think that, one of this board's functions is to bring the least required.
Right, right.
Variance, and I was just wondering if we could do, we have to evaluate each one on its own, but if this could be moved, that would be one less thing that we would have to, decide on it, and the 12-foot is gonna be, something that they need a variance for, either way. whether it's
Right.
12 feet or, I don't know what that math would work out to, so I was just curious if that could be done.
Yeah, and I was looking at the other line, if you moved it over to the right.
You'd have to come at an angle here and bring it out to Ridge Road. Then you'd have a little strip of land there.
No, not all the way down, no, just
You're talking
If
about
you want
different
5,000 square feet,
Yeah.
yeah, you're gonna have to.
I think, you're probably right, it wouldn't be enough to get that 6, yeah.
And you're removing the garage, you're removing the area of the masonry building, to get that less than 1,500 square feet. Why not remove the rest of it, so that we don't need this, other variance that we're requesting as well?
Well,
I think they want to, make it into a garage.
yeah, and also, coming from the beginning of the evolution of this project to now, we had a solution earlier, and we had to make it evolve 3-4 times to get to this point. For lack of a better word, we gave in to a certain extent, removing this amount of structure to get to this point. I think that's a fair resolution to try to keep the lines the way they are. And removing the whole building, just, they could use it, for the garage. I would ask the board to allow that to continue.
Any other questions from the board? All right, I think we'll open it up to the public, and then we'll see what the board's pleasure is. Oh, go ahead, Andrew.
Is it possible, I wasn't actually able to see these buildings. I don't know, I wasn't, when I drove by, I wasn't able to see the buildings. Is it possible to get pictures of what it looks like right now? I don't.
How could you miss?
I just want to be able to have a better understanding of what's in this area between the 2.5-story building and, I understand that you're proposing that it's going to come down. I just visually, I was not able to see it from that perspective. Do we have the ability to get some pictures of that so we can see what that looks like?
Yes, we have that technology.
You didn't
to
go
do
down the
that.
gravel road?
No, I didn't think I was supposed to.
Oh, I went right on in here. That's why we got those badges.
Yeah, I mean, we signed the affidavit,
Right.
for you to enter the property, so.
Any other questions from the board before I open it to the public? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone in the first row wish to speak to this application? Second row? Yes, sir. Please come and state your name to the, go to the microphone so we could hear you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tom Skoronsky. I live across the street, 5 Lent Drive, so I get a full view of this all the time. And it's a beautiful area, and the tree is beautiful, and everything that was stated was correct. But I just want to, there seems to be a piece missing here. The creamery has a sizable, what do you call it? A sizable well, right? Which consumes a large part of that area, whereas, so I don't know, that's a whole nother consideration, which is why probably there's reluctancy maybe to move or take it down, because that's a whole nother can of worms. There's a big, back in the day, they used to use that well and draw up cold water.
Is it still functional?
And they used to, cool off all the milk products and everything. So it was a big project. So that's a pretty massive production they had there. So I don't know what the regulations are there, but certainly that needs to be looked into. I would think. I'm not against the subdivision, or I'm not pro. I just want everybody to understand before making a decision what could impact this entire thing. That's a big one right there. Because if you're gonna make that into a garage, you're sitting on top of water. It goes down deep. So I don't know. I'm not a zoning inspector or anything like that, but I didn't hear it mentioned, so I thought I'd just bring it up.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Now, the setback, is that 12.2 feet from Lent Drive, or is that?
No,
that's
it's from the town property on Scunnamunk.
Okay.
No, it's not. That's the other one. I'm sorry. It's between the two. It's
It's a proposed new subdivision line.
Okay.
So the end of the lot that
I see.
contains the creamery,
I
if
see.
you will, to the parcel that's being subdivided.
I see. Okay, thank
that's
you.
the 12 and a half feet from that building to the...
So the frontage from where I'm looking, the frontage will be 30 feet minimal back,
40
or 40?
Or,
Okay.
yes,
Okay,
from the road, property line.
Yeah.
They meet the other requirements from.
okay.
from
And the height of the house will have to be taken into consideration for,
That's, oh, wait a minute. There's two lots here now. One isn't been, the house hasn't been built yet. That's it.
no, but like the proposed, when they propose to build it, you can only
It will
have a
be in
certain size
compliance.
house.
Yes, it's not going to be a 5-story,
It'll be 2-story.
whatever. Yeah, a regular house.
Have to meet all codes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's all I had. I just thought I'd bring it up just for, informational purposes in case anybody didn't know. Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Anyone from the third row wish to speak to this application? Yes. Yes, please go to the microphone. Oh, you want to respond? I'm sorry, I didn't see who that was. Yeah. Well, let's wait for the rest of the public hearing. Anyone else in the third row? In the back or the side? No, I didn't see his hand.
Hello, my name is James Fabro. I live at 33 Scunnamunk Road, Highland Mills, New York. I live up near the property, and I just had a couple questions about when they're going to build the house. I'm looking at the old map that has a 70 by 45 foot proposed house on it, talking about the proposed building. So I guess the revised one is 2,400 square feet. That you're-
2,450 square feet.
Is it a one-story? Is it a one-story with a full foundation, or is it a two-story with an 8-foot foundation? I'm just curious about that.
Yeah.
Probably gonna
I
be
don't know what,
two-story.
yeah, I would think it's a two-story. That would be,
It's not specified on the plan.
Oh, not specified yet. Okay, sure, so it's still in the planning board, all right.
The application is before us today because it requires 2 variances.
Right.
to be built.
I will, again, I'm looking at a 70 by 45, and I see the 12.2 feet, the rear variance. On the property, if they want to put a rear deck or something, is that conform? Is there enough room to put up a rear deck also, or is that
on the proposed house?
on the proposed property I'm talking about? Well, I mean, say you want to put a rear deck on there or something, 12.2 feet,
No, that's the other, that's the other lot.
So here,
oh, the current
how
house.
about I just show,
The old barn is gonna be 12.2.
Yeah, I'm looking at where that wall is.
Go for it, Craig.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at,
I don't know if you could put a deck here. These are the proposed ones.
They did, the planning board did the same exact thing to me when I was there. They accepted less because it was a street.
Okay, that's easy enough, understood. I just curious, so that outline doesn't include the size of the decks and stuff in the back?
That would
The
be,
property,
you know, if
That's-
the proposed house wished to put on a deck, they would go before the building,
Building
you know,
codes, exactly.
right,
Okay.
and then if they needed to, they'd have to come back for a variance for that, because it's not on the plans here.
Now, the property comes really close to the road on the two sides that go by the park on Scunnamunk. And I know you have.
That's, that's where the property is,
The property line, that's the existing property.
right.
Now, line of sight you were talking about, I live up there, so we get a lot of snow in the wintertime, blowing snow. We get bombed, it comes across the lake, and it'll just blow across. I know the stop sign's right there. I didn't realize there was such a small right-of-way right there between the street and the thing. So if they get this, they're gonna be allowed to put up shrubs or a fence right up to that area. I mean, and I'm also on the lower side, when you come around turn, because that road's an old farm road, back in the day, you know, when it was built. And people are always cutting it short. I've lived up there 30 years. So I'm just wondering I know it's a lot of brush there now, but I just don't think there should be too much more. Like if they build the walls, or because you're going to change the grades over on the property a little bit, obviously, or fences. Is it that one corner, like when you come around, you can see somebody coming down the hill or something, like when the guys are snow plowing.
So you're you're
Line of
worried
sight.
about sight distance?
Line of
like,
sight,
you
yeah,
know,
when you come around that thing, I mean,
Any-
right now, yes, there's some overgrown shrubs and stuff, and there is that there's some, that old existing building, the foundation that you're talking about, the far part. So I'm just concerned about that.
Any
line of sight.
building would have to pass through the planning board as far as access for emergency vehicles, ingress, egress, line of sight, that,
Well, I'm
you know,
just
there wouldn't be
going
any
around-
blind spots,
On the,
whether on the road or
turns.
driveway.
On the turns, like when you're coming up the road, I mean,
Right.
I look at the property and it kind of shows this road is kind of straight and I guess it's close to that, but it's a pretty good turn, you know.
Yeah,
People
well,
do
that
come-
turn is not changing.
Oh, yeah. I hope not, but that's fine. So the rest of the questions are just gonna, there's nothing else I really have any questions about, except for the foundation, and that was the other questions. So there's nothing proposed yet. Okay, thank you.
All right,
Now,
thank you, sir.
What is the size of the existing proposed building now, the 2,400 square foot?
There is no building on that lot now.
On the proposed.
2450.
24,
And that, but it doesn't show length times length and width?
it doesn't show what? What's the question?
The length and the width of the,
Oh,
of
it
the
just,
house?
no.
You could derive it, but no. it
Oh, okay, so it's just put out there.
It has the required setback, so,
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
right.
Okay, that's all, thank you.
Any other comments or questions from the public? Would you like to answer or respond, sir, to any of the concerns you, yeah?
You know, again, my apologies, I didn't realize that there would be an easel and we could have put a foam board. But I grew up with the foam board, so I'm used to that, so you know that. But the person here brings up a good point. We do realize that there are technical concerns, you know, with altering that building, but that goes to show, you know, how far we're willing to go to help to make this work, you know, and all those technical issues will need to be addressed partially with the planning board and then fully or substantially with the building department. So, you know, all those items, details will be addressed. So, you know, I want the board to be rest assured.
Thank you. Does anybody from the board have any further questions or concerns they want to bring?
I'm just curious, the applicant is Fisher. And the owner is Daddy?
Where do you see that? I usually put that.
Is it on behalf of? Your firm represents, I'm just trying to understand who the applicant is.
Matt Dabney owns the property, and Fisher is the applicant, and I'm doing the design work for him.
How is the applicant related to the owner?
There is no relation.
I'm sorry, you said,
There is no relationship. There's, you know, if we can get this to move along, you know, I'm sure that they would want to go ahead and subdivide the property and build a house.
Do we need any kind of?
So I'm just trying to, Mr. Fisher is doing this in
As long as we have it.
pursuit of purchasing the property? Or-
Yes.
Okay.
The owner signed off on the application, so you're fine.
Yeah. Okay. I have two letters that I wish to enter into the record from community members. One is from Samuel Jacobowitz. Jacobowitz? Did I say that right? Jacobowitz.
There you go.
Thank you. 197 Ridge Road. As a neighbor of 7 Scunnamunk Road, I'm writing my opinion in favor of the request. Looking at the lot, it appears to have ample space to accommodate another house easily and will fit in with the rest of the neighborhood. We look forward to welcoming Mr. Fisher in our neighborhood soon. And that letter was dated August 10th. And we have a second letter from Monica Mitchell, dated August 10th also. I am in receipt of a notice of hearing for the above property. I do not agree with complying with this variance. The original setback of 30 feet should stay and not the setback of 12.1 foot setback. This is a huge difference, should not be allowed for any reason whatsoever. This is confusing as to 2.7 acres will be divided into 2 lots for a single-family residence, and the application proposed a minimum of 0.91 acres where required 1 acre is now required. This should also be kept as 1 acre and not changed. What happens to the acreage that is not used for building this single-family house? It's a nay for me. I will try to be there at the meeting, but in case I cannot attend, I'm sending this email. Those are the only letters we received from the public. What's the board's pleasure on this?
Well, wasn't Andy wanting pictures of those buildings?
Or
So
if
you-
if I can go and see it, if I can actually go up there and see, I didn't realize that it was something that we could just walk up to and see, so.
So you want to keep the public hearing open until you get to look at it?
If it's okay, I would just like to get a better understanding of where what that's gonna look like.
When the barn and the other part of the masonry building is removed, you mean?
Correct.
Okay. I don't have a problem with that. Anybody else? So do I have a motion to keep the public hearing open until next month? To continue it till next month?
I'm requesting it. I'll make a motion to keep the public hearing open until next month.
Do I have a second? I'll second it. All in favor? Aye. Okay, so we will keep the public hearing open for any one of us or all of us to go and get a better look. And, what was that?
You can make a trip.
A field trip.
If you decide, I was just saying that, actually. If the board does decide, if you're doing more than just a drive-by, where you're driving by and looking, if there's any time you want to go on the property, please notify the building department, so the building department can notify the applicant, so she doesn't just see some strangers walking on the property and call the police or anything like
They
that.
signed something saying that it's okay, so.
But it's nice
But
to
she
know that
has,
there's.
she's living there. I mean, you don't want
I will
people,
absolutely contact the building department. Yeah, I couldn't imagine it, so I didn't want to go.
You were afraid of the dirt driveway. Okay, 49.
okay. Our next public hearing is Vanderhurst. Public hearing appealing the denial of a building permit and requesting a variance for the construction of a 6-foot fence in the side yard, whereas pursuant to Section 146-5, letter B, no fence shall be more than 4 feet in height in any side yard. Said property is located in the R1A zoning district at 49 Ridge Road in Highland Mills and is known on the Village of Woodbury tax maps as Section 241, Block 1, Lot 2. Is the applicant present? Yes, could one of you or both of you go to the podium? Please state your name.
Good evening, Wendy Garcia Vanderhorst.
Is it, I'm sorry, is it Horst or Hurst?
Horst.
With an O. Yeah, I had that question here because I couldn't read the writing, and then I saw it, it looked like an O, but it was typed as a U, so
Yeah.
it's Vanderhorst.
Yes.
Sorry about that. I will correct it. Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So we are here on the basis of an application for a variance for a 6 feet fence. There was another fence there when we first purchased the house, and it was actually 6 feet as well. It was 10? 10 feet. So we just wanted to replace it with a newer fence, nicer looking. So that's what we are here for.
Okay, so the pre-existing fence, it was there, but it was never an approved fence. So whoever put that fence there never got approval from the building department. That's the first thing. I'm just sharing that with you.
But there's a fence already there, isn't?
Not now. There was one there.
Yes.
Well, they
They
put up, yeah, they're now installing a new fence, but there was a fence there. It was like a stockade type thing with a lattice on top.
Yeah, it was there for a while. That's
Yeah,
why we took it down because it was pretty damaged.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like
it-
a hazard.
yeah.
It's a hazard there. But what we're asking is like, out of the line, we're asking just like for like 37 feet to complete the fence all over, from all the way from the back to the front.
So if you have, I drove by,
Okay,
and you've got 4 feet across from the house, across the driveway there, when you enter the property. And then you have 4 feet, I guess that goes like by the neighbor's driveway, yeah, into the yard. And then you didn't put it in yet, but you have the posts to put in the 6-foot section. And then beyond that, you have the 4-foot section. Does that go all the way to the brook?
no. It's, when I spoke to one of the building inspector, Larry, it was told me it's gotta be like 10, so actually it's almost like 16 feet. But the end of the 4 feet fence is like 16 feet from the street back. It happens to be 11 feet, but it's only, I gave him like 5 extra feet, so it's 16 feet away from the road.
No, I'm talking about the portion of the fence, towards the rear of the yard, where there used to be a fence there, there's a brook beyond there. Does your 4-foot
Oh, no,
fence...
that's 6 though.
So you're going to go 6 from, you need the variance for the side yard, and then you're going to continue 6 to the back of the property.
That's correct.
Now, what about the portion that goes parallel to the brook? Is that going to be 6 foot also?
That's 4.
Okay, so now my next question would be, you said something about the animals going back and forth. Well, what's going to stop the animals from going in the back?
No, you mean from,
From the brook side, back and forth?
Well, obviously, having the fence, and if it is 6 feet high, the animals won't be able to jump.
Oh, they can jump a 6 foot?
Yes.
there's
Well, the thing is that we have
a stream of water.
a stream of water in the back, so they don't have the space to actually be able to jump once you have the fence.
But I thought you
Yeah.
said you were only putting 4 foot there.
No, that's the front. I'm so sorry, this is our first time doing this.
So, okay, let me get this straight. So the front of the house, from the driveway, across the driveway, when you enter, it's 4 foot, staggered so with the terrain. And then you have 4 foot on the left, if you're looking at your house, you have 4 foot on the left side. And then, I don't know how many feet in, you have the posts and ready to put in the 6 foot section.
Yes,
You're continuing that 6 foot section to the rear of the property.
the back, yes.
Okay. Now, when you get to the rear of the property and you make it a right turn toward the other neighbor, is that going to be 6 foot also?
Yes,
Oh,
the back.
That will be the right side.
But you're talking about
No, the back, by the brook.
back.
That runs parallel to the brook.
Yeah, oh no, yeah, we got the permit to build
Well, you're allowed 6 foot there. I'm
no,
just saying,
No,
Yes.
we did build a chain link fence, like 6 foot high over there already. Then
okay,
you
so
gotta
the
go
rear
on
of the
step.
property has 6 foot fence?
Yes.
Okay.
You're gonna have 6-foot chain link fence?
Yes,
Yes.
sir, yes. We just need them to go inspect and give us okay, but we got the permit to build it on.
Yeah, no, I guess my question was, if you're going to have 37 feet of 6 foot and the rest is going to be 4 feet, you're not going to stop any animals. 6 foot will be better than 4 foot, but, I've seen deer jump over my 6 foot fence in the back.
It is 6 feet, a chain link fence, built in there, on the back of the house.
But is there a reason why you can't bring the 6 foot across at the back of the house? Instead of bringing it up to the front of the house?
Well, we already have it in the back. We have the chain link in
the back?
Yes. So it's just bringing it forward in the front to an area where it's allowable with the 4 feet that you already saw it when you went by. So it's just connecting the two of them, having the 6 one just to finish it, and connect with the 4 feet, which is
I think what he's asking is, why did you start the 6 foot on the side of the house when you could have gone another few feet, 37 feet with the 4 foot, and then did the 6 foot?
And bring it across from the back corner of the building over and then down to the brook. Because that's the part that's in question, is from the side of the house and that piece across the front.
I don't know if you can explain it, if you see the map. I'm so sorry, sir, this is new to us, so what you're telling us.
I tried to find
it's
pictures
like-
to see if
Yeah.
we could follow you where
We're looking at this right here. Okay? And what you're talking about right here is from the corner of your house, going all the way over here.
Right.
You're talking about a 4-foot fence.
That's the back, is 6 feet.
That's the front.
Okay, the front is 4. Yes,
So you're talking about a 4-foot fence here.
yes.
And then you're talking about 37 feet of a 6-foot fence here.
Right.
And what are you talking about over here? This line right here, is this a proposed fence?
Is that the one of the, is that the back?
If you got 4 feet coming across the front, why do you need 6 feet going down the side? I don't,
Because fence can only be 4 feet in the front yard, and they don't want a variance.
but this is requiring a variance.
That's correct. So they want a consistent, all the way to the back, 6 foot.
But it's 4 foot from here.
There is no fence there.
4 foot.
So what it is here on the front, what they got the
That's 4 feet.
Right, I had a beautiful, nice pine trees that they pretty high, and they made like a kind of a light fence as well, that they were not damaged during the last snowstorm that we had. Unfortunately, the one on the side, where we're requesting the
Variance?
variance of 37 feet, all the tree of rock that I had to cut it, unfortunately, it's like a big gap, like messy, as well with the existing fence that was there before. So that's why I decided to remove everything just to make it look better.
But the 6 foot on the side isn't going to be effective for the pets. If you got 4 feet in the front,
Well, originally, we wanted to have 6.
What he's talking about in the picture?
Yeah.
This shrubbery is significantly higher. See that right there? This is the front of the house. This is where he's talking about.
I know, I was there today.
Because usually the animals, they don't, for some reason, they don't mess on the front of the house. They come in from the back of the string and go to my neighbor that is present here, go through the back and then just get the way inside.
Are these trees, the trees that had to be
Those are-
removed?
Most of them like kind of removed, some need to be
So
removed.
basically, this portion of the fence will be visible to you, unless you plant something?
Right.
Yes,
Okay,
It's exactly
and
what
this
it-
is the old fence with the lattice?
yes.
Right.
And that
That was
was
the one
10 foot?
That was 10 foot
10
high,
foot.
right?
Okay. And you're continuing beyond the shed, back 6 foot?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I got that straight, I think. Anybody from the board have any further questions for the applicant before I open it up to the public?
I want to give them the letter.
And this drawing is accurate. That's that.
Well, yeah.
Oh, okay. I have, yeah, I got it here, I didn't,
Actually, that's the one from my neighbor, which he seat on the right
45
side,
Ridge
the
Road.
45 Ridge Road.
all right.
Yeah.
Before I open it, I have now 3 letters from neighbors. One is Gary Sussman, who lives 57 Ridge Road. Having lived in Highland Mills for the past 30 years, I appreciate the board's stance on maintaining the integrity of the community and protecting property values. If this fence was not in public view, then I would believe the circumstances are different than a structure that can be viewed from the road. I find the 4-foot limit in good taste and beneficial to enhancing the surrounding property value. And that's from Gary Sussman. And then your neighbor on the left, the fence side, Joseph Cameron, owner and resident at 45 Ridge Road, Highland Mills, hereby certify that I am in agreement with the building and location of a new fence between 49 Ridge Road, Highland Mills, and my property. The next door property is owned by Prospero Vanderhorst and Wendy Garcia Vanderhorst. This letter serves as a formal consent and/or agreement to a 2-foot variance of a portion of the fence between 45 Ridge Road and 49 Ridge Road. The proposed design of the fence seems appropriate. It will help beautify the area next to my property without interfering and/or affecting the environment of the surrounding area. The new fence replaces an old fence previously approved by the town, which was run down and allowed for animals to pass between both properties. And this is notarized, this letter. And the one that was just received is from Teresa Parker at 46 Ridge Road. She says she has no objection to the 6-foot fence or on the side yard. So those, I just wanted to enter those into the record.
Just one quick question.
Sure, sir.
The new fence, so you have a fence that goes from the back of your house on the side line, if you will, to the back of your property, chain link or wooden?
Wood.
Wood. And the new fence will be the same?
Yes, it's
Thank
I
you.
had a,
That was it. I just wanted to clarify. The picture shows it. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Do the Beatties still live next door to you? Yeah, it says Beatty.
oh, I don't know if that's the last name though, but they moved there for us. I mean, they've been there, but I don't know if that would be the last name.
Because that's the camera.
You remember the Beatties? Remember the Beatties?
Yes.
Is there, I'm going to ask the public now if they have anything to say.
Sure.
Since I
Thank you.
entered these into, and
Thank you.
then,
Okay,
We'll
thank
make-
you for listening to us.
is there anyone in the second row who wishes to speak to this application? We're emptying out here. Anyone in the third row? Fourth row? Side? Okay.
Good evening, Board. Hello, guys. My name is Joseph Cameron. I'm also new to the
Oh,
community.
you wrote this letter?
Yes. I didn't know that prior there wasn't a permit for that previous fence, because when I
Yeah, I
purchased
didn't
my
know till
home
I
at
checked with
45
the-
Ridge
with the-
Road, it was there. It was pretty mangled, and the boards were very bowing. So when he asked me, would you be all right if I take it down and improve it? I'm like, oh yeah, that would be perfect. Because I don't have time to do it. I'm a truck driver over the road. Just got hired at Martin Broward down here. So thank you. I thought it looks beautiful, and I like it a lot.
It is a nice fence.
Yeah, it
it's
is a nice
beautiful.
fence.
It's beautiful on his side, and it helps me out. Hey, when our kids come over, they love it. And he has the dog in the back, so it protects, the dog is enclosed, so it's safe. I have 2 children, 11 and 9. They're frequently in my backyard. Me, I don't mind the deers too much because the creek where I'm at, it flows pretty good, and usually they stay on that side. If they do come over, they're in the bushes and they're hiding. That's all I want to say about that matter. But guys, thank you for your time, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public?
Can we make a motion to close the public hearing?
I think we should.
Would you like to make that motion?
Make a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so at the end of this meeting, we'll discuss this. I'll go over the 5 questions, and we'll make a decision. You're welcome to stay, or you can call the building department in the morning. Okay? Okay, next public hearing is Coughlin. Public hearing appealing the denial of a building permit and requesting a variance for the construction of a solid 6-foot fence in the front yard. Whereas pursuant to Section 146-5B, no fence shall be more than 4 foot in height in any front yard, and pursuant to Section 146-7, letter A, no fence shall be erected in a front yard in a residential district or along a public right-of-way unless the fence is uniformly less than 50% solid. Said property is located in the R1A zoning district at 1 Cindy Lane in Highland Mills and is known on the Village of Woodbury tax maps as Section 221, Block 3, Lot 8. Is the applicant present? Did I say your name correctly? Is it Coughlin?
Very good.
Okay. So you have one of those corner properties.
Yes, ma'am,
And
but I'd like to make a clarification, because what you just read is not accurate. I'm not looking to do anything in my front yard. I'm looking to extend a fence in my side yard.
no, but technically, because you're a corner property, that's considered a front yard.
I know, but when you send that to my neighbors, when they sent that to my neighbors, they're all like, what are you doing, Coughlin? So,
Okay, so what you want to do is, so I drove by. So you go down Adrian, you're on Cindy, your address is on Cindy, but you're on the corner of Adrian and Cindy.
yes, ma'am.
And the Adrian side there's the road, there's the grass, and then it goes down, and then there's more grass, and then there's your house and your fence.
Correct.
So what you wish to do is move that fence towards the road to the bottom of that hill, correct?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
that you get more area for your pool and your backyard, so you have more usable space, basically.
Yes, that's exactly right.
And the fence that's there is 5 foot at one section and 5.5 or 6 foot, you know, because it's a scalloped fence.
Right, well, yes, ma'am. But on each side, that's a 6-foot fence, 6-foot solid fence.
Yeah, well, that's the neighbor's, is that the neighbor's fence that's there?
The fencing behind,
It-
that white
that's- I
fence
saw
is
that,
another
yeah.
6-foot solid fence, because he also has an in-ground pool back there.
Yeah. So the fence that you plan to put up, is it the same style as the fence that you have?
The intent was to do the same style, just move that out 17 feet to the base of that,
The
that
same,
Okay,
the same
because-
fence, you're just gonna move it?
Yes, sir.
So you're going to basically take the same fence and move it. The reason I ask is because if you look at the house from the front, you've got that same style fence there, and I thought, it's not going to look very nice if you have two different styles.
Correct. Although, because the way I have redone the front of my house, most of that, when you look from the front,
Oh, because of that porch area?
yes, ma'am, the way that's done, it'll camouflage most of that from the front area. And then from the street, or, if you look around, my neighbors, it really does zero effect on my neighbors, because there's no neighbor across the street.
Right.
It's just woods. The slope kind of takes it out of eyesight for anybody on the road. And then my neighbor in the back, there's a significant tree, I guess, pine tree there. So there's no visual, observation of the fence at all. But that 17 feet is significantly, gives me 22 additional feet in my yard.
Because you've got the
versus
5 by the
if you
pool
look on that
now,
5
and-
feet
yeah.
is what I have right now on that side of my yard.
Yeah, that's,
The property starts going up the hill to Adrian.
Yes, sir, 17 feet, and then it's 43 feet from the current fence to the street. I want to go 17 feet, takes me to the base of that hill, and that's still another 26 feet to the road then.
You drew the fence on the diagram that you gave us, you drew a little squiggly line for your fence. You understand that you would have to connect that portion, the end portion, to the back of the house.
Yes,
So-
absolutely.
That's a squiggle? Oh, yeah, I see it. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I see it now. I see it. Okay. And I noticed on the fence that's currently there, there's a solid fence on the left in the back there, the neighbors, so like a white or off-white fence or gray. And the fences kind of converge. Is that what you're going to join the other end of that to
Well,
their?
ma'am, I have a fence of my own back there
That-
too, that kind of parallels his white fence.
Oh, okay.
So they're joined now, and the intent would be to join them
Okay.
again.
So I guess my point is that you're not going to have any openings other than maybe a gate. There won't be any permanent openings for someone to get into the pool
No,
because
for
that
the
pool needs to be enclosed.
Safety, there's young children and like I said, there's an in-ground pool back there. So, young children plus my daughter has 2 cats, and the 6-foot fence sort of keeps them in the backyard. They can scale the fence, by the way.
I'm sure, especially a wooden one. I have no further questions.
No, I don't either, these houses with the 2 streets.
Yeah, the
I got
corner
same-
lots.
I got the same thing in my house. I got no rear yard.
And sir, I understand the visual clutter that a high fence can cause, but, even from a safety perspective, the way it's about a 35% slope there. And when you
You're
put
not
a
even gonna
4-foot
notice
fence,
it.
there's anything on the other side, even a young kid could actually trip and fall over it.
Yeah,
Animals
it's a
then
pretty,
come in your yard,
you
other
know,
things.
it starts out nice and then it just drops.
Pretty significant, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Any other further questions? Any further questions from the board before I open it to the public? No? Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate your time, folks.
Anyone from the first row wish to speak to this application? No? You don't want to commiserate with your fencing friends? Second row? Third row?
Good evening. I'm Don Siebold. I live at 7 Adrian Drive, and the Copland's request, I believe, is very reasonable considering corner house, because I have a corner house too, and we all know corner houses cause problems. And I can say nothing but good things about the way he's kept his house and improved the neighborhood by putting a beautiful porch in the front, and he's enhanced all of our property values. So I think it's quite reasonable to approve it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the fourth row? We have anybody left? Anyone? Okay.
Motion,
Wait. Oh, yes.
motion to close the public hearing?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So the public hearing is closed. We will discuss it at the end of this meeting.
And we are at the end of the meeting.
Okay.
Right, they're just beating you.
I think so, yeah, that's fine with me.
You know.
All right, building inspector's report, we have none. Deliberations on closed public hearings. So let's do that.
Yeah.
Anybody have a preference as to which one they want to do first?
Yeah, who's first?
Order of the public hearings? All right, so Hamaspick, I don't know if I said that right. Okay, this is the variance for the livestock in the rear yard. Okay, we have 5 questions. We'll go over them, and we'll decide what we're going to do here. Will the granting of this variance produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or create a detriment to nearby properties? The applicant says the variance we seek is merely to allow the 1.1 acre property to house livestock that are known to greatly enhance the lives of people with developmental disabilities. The livestock will be contained to the back of the property that neighbors only trees and the wilderness. This variance will only enhance the feel and look of this wonderful area, and by helping to keep the residents calm, this will actually enhance the quietness of the area. Well, based on at least one neighbor, it doesn't sound like it's a quiet area with the livestock there. I don't know what you guys think. Undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood.
Actually, I think it does change the character of the neighborhood.
I would agree with Kevin on
I mean, unfortunately, I understand the situation, but you're not supposed to have chickens on a 1 acre parcel. And the neighbors are smelling it and hearing it, and I don't think they should have to. I wouldn't want to hear it.
Well, the neighbor that spoke said that you could hear it from quite a distance. It wasn't just
I know.
across the street. It was from other streets,
So I think
nearby.
they are changing the conditions of the neighborhood.
I agree. Andrew, you agree?
that. I agree, yes.
Evan, what's your thought on that?
I agree. And I think the note from the town supervisor, in addition to the neighbor's comments, our letter says the same thing.
That's true, yes. Okay, so we do not agree with the applicant on this number 1 question, correct?
No.
Okay. Number 2, can the benefit you seek be achieved by some other feasible method other than the variance? The applicant says the only way the outcome can be achieved is by receiving a variance. The residents living there cannot have these animals living with them in-house, and based on research and past experience, the interaction that they gain from the livestock can at times be the only way they can find peace in their life. I don't doubt that
But I
these
don't,
animals are therapeutic to the young children who are there.
personally, I don't agree with that because the applicant should have made sure that whatever he was using as far as a piece of property was able to handle what they were planning on doing on the property.
Well, the other thing is that one of the questions I asked was, what do you do when there's no chickens there? And he said, well, we bring them to other places for other therapies. Well, can't that happen during the summer months and spring months also? I mean, does it? So that's a feasible alternative in my mind.